Hi, and welcome back to your Public Affairs Programming Show. I am once again your host, Jackson Heaton, and a special returning guest. We have had them on before. I got Kathy Colbenson, President and CEO of Chris 180. Now, the benefit of living in Atlanta is there's so many great nonprofits doing amazing things to make this an even better city to live in. Chris 180 is one of them, and their mission is to heal children, strengthen families, and build community. And they do this through behavioral health services and support systems. Kathy, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
It's a delight to be back and talking with you
Oh,
again.
so such a pleasure to have you back. And like I said, so many great nonprofits in this city. Chris 80, one of them. How has 2020 affected everything that you guys are doing?
Well, that's a loaded question. We're continuing, yeah, we're continuing to provide behavioral health services. Our counseling has gone virtual. We are in providing counseling support services for 72 schools and continuing that. And we're continuing to operate our group homes for kids in foster care and our program for homeless youth and kids aging out. And so about half of our staff are working full time. The most dramatic change for us has been the pivot to food delivery and well checks. It started out working with our clients and wanting to make sure that they had sufficient food, sufficient supplies when the COVID hit and the city shut down. And then people started losing their jobs, and it grew from there. What's unique about our food delivery is that we do well checks too. So we're checking on people and having conversations about how they're doing. And that has expanded exponentially. And we're serving almost 3,000 households right now with food delivery on the west side, the east side, and the south side of Atlanta.
Well, just because, 2020 happened and you had all these speed bumps in the road, what you guys were doing, the work didn't stop, and it even got even more important for you to be out there.
Exactly.
A-
Exactly.
And you're doing a lot of telehealth services right now.
Yeah, we are. Our counseling is probably 99% through um, virtually, so through telehealth. It's really actually more effective than this old-fashioned therapist would have ever thought. It really is very effective, and our therapists are awesome with the kids we're working with. They've made play therapy kits that they've delivered to the kids at home. We've also used relationships because in order to do telehealth, you've got to have virtual ability on the other end. So we have secured donated Chromebooks and other supplies that have enabled us to work with some very disadvantaged families virtually. We've gotten MiFi cards. It's been really an outpouring for the community supporting us and helping these kids and families.
Now, I may not have, let's back up a little bit because I may not have done Chris 180 justice during my intro, maybe not expanded. For those that, are not aware of Chris 180, what is it exactly that your organization is about? What are you doing to make Atlanta a better place?
Well, we're helping people change the direction of their lives, and we're doing it through counseling and support services. And support services is two words that means a whole lot of things. I like to say we provide 360 services to achieve a 180. So our goal is empowerment and helping people recover from trauma so that they can live their best lives and tap into the potential that really exists in every human being.
And you're talking about trauma. What do you mean, kids or families that have experienced trauma?
Well, trauma can be a single event like a tragic car accident, losing a parent, a house fire. It can be that. It can also be historical and generational trauma that has been passed down through generations. And it can be community trauma, living in a community where there's a lot of gunshots, living in a household where there's domestic violence, or you're being sexually or physically abused. And it's not just a single incident, it repeats over time. And that is That's what I mean by trauma. It could be a single incident, or it could be something that happens over time, or it could be something that's generational and historical.
And I think everybody in some way has had that moment in their life where they have experienced trauma, or they, no matter how big or small, like you said, trauma can be anything. It can be as simple as something you remember as a kid. Maybe your parents went through a really nasty divorce,
Right.
anything. And so Chris 180 is right there to shower them with love and, healing and support. And you said you got food services. And when you drop off food, you're not just like taking a bag, dropping it off, and leaving. You're doing what you call a well check,
Right.
which gives Chris 180 that personal touch.
And I think everybody can kind of relate to trauma right now, because what we're all experiencing in the pandemic is collective or shared trauma,
I
because this has dramatically changed our lives.
and there's so many families that are having to go into this holiday season. People you help, people you mentor, people
Right.
you provide services for that are, having terrible years at this point.
It is really traumatic. The other thing is people have lost their ability to see each other. People have lost their routines and their rituals. And so there's all these losses that have compounded, that are really traumatic.
What's to say? Nail on the head. It's I don't even remember what pre-COVID life was like at this point. It's just so used to the new normal. And holiday
Yeah.
season is definitely going to look a lot different. But Chris 180 implementing a lot of things to serve their clients and serve their people the best they can.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I could not be more proud of the amazing work that the Chris 180 team has done, and the donors who've supported our work. I mean, there's been an outpouring of caring about other people that is really important. And in this tense climate that we've been in with the races and the political talk, um, it has been great to see how many people are caring and wanting to help other people who are less fortunate. Because the truth is, the the pandemic has not been as devastating to me personally or to you as it has been to people who are living on the edge. I think most Americans don't have money in savings to be
Which
able to withstand a job loss, or even a health crisis.
Chris 180 really an important factor during the holiday season, especially with your mentoring and counseling people with mental health issues. Where can people go to find out more information about that?
Yeah, chris180.org. That has a list of all of our counseling locations, which location isn't that important anymore, but it will be when COVID is over, or the pandemic is not derailing our lives. But chris180.org is where someone can go, a single place, and uh, access our mental health resources and our housing assistance too, because that's been the other huge thing. People, when you're homeless in the pandemic, that's not a good thing.
Well, like I said, so many people have just experienced this year. Like it started off one way for them and has ended up another. So never be embarrassed or afraid to talk to someone about your mental health issues. If you need help or you know someone that needs help, don't be afraid to visit chris180.org.
Right. We're even doing some support groups, support groups for college age students, because think about what they've lost, and for high school students. And the most important thing for adolescents is their friends.
And November is switching gears here. November is National Adoption Month. Talk to me about your foster care.
Yeah, so we are still doing adoptions, believe it or not, during the pandemic. And we're still doing impact classes, which is the training classes, and our trauma education for foster parents and potential adoptive parents. We're doing that, a combination of virtual and socially distanced. We are blessed to have a couple of large training rooms. And so a small group of people can be in that training room physically and be 12 feet apart. So
Now,
we're still doing adoptions.
How big is your foster care system?
We have probably, I didn't get a correct count, but I bet we've got over 60 kids in foster care in various either traditional foster homes, our gateway foster homes for sibling groups, because we really are committed to not separating siblings, and then in our group homes. So we've got three different kind of components of foster care.
That's amazing. For children like me who grew up in such a loving home and had a great childhood, I think about these kids that don't have a family yet, or are dreaming of having that family system one day. I mean, of course, Chris 180 does amazing things in their interim to give them all of that, but it's just so
Not the
sad to
same.
see. It's not the same. Like, especially during the holidays, you think of a kid having to spend it in foster care instead of a home. And has Chris 180 always done, or how long has Chris 180 been around? Let me ask that first.
We've been around, this is our 40th year in
Wow.
2021. And our legacy program is our program for kids in foster care. That is what we were founded to help kids in foster care who had significant behavioral health issues. And one of the things that people can do is really support us. Giving Tuesday is the first Tuesday in December. And the funds that we raise through Giving Tuesday are going to go to help the kids and the families we work with have as nice a holiday as we can possibly help them have. And then the end of year giving is really important in terms of helping us be able to meet the unique needs of every family and help children be able to have a meaningful gift, something that they wanted. That's something that Chris 180 does that's really important is we really, you know how it is. You get things when you were a kid growing up that you need. So you get things you need, but then there's always that something you really, really wanted. And so we work really hard to be able to have the funds to purchase that one thing that the kid really, really wants, because a lot of times kids in foster care don't get that.
Going back to Atlanta having so many great nonprofits, and you're all doing amazing things, but you thrive, you live off donations, the
Yeah.
generosity of others and volunteers. So if you want to do that, if you want to make those end of the year donations, or just go ahead and give, you can do so at chris180.org/donations. Am I if I'm,
Hmm.
if I'm correct?
Yes.
And Kathy, how long have you been the CEO of Chris 180?
Well, I started when I was 5 years old. Um, I've been here 33 years.
And what brought you into it? What keeps you going with it?
Well, I came into it not intending to stay more than 10 years because I was a therapist in private practice and I wanted to get back to private practice because when you're a therapist, that's what you think you want to do. But after being at Chris 180 and meeting the kids and seeing the potential for what we could do, even more than we were doing at the time, I knew within a month that this is what my calling was. And what keeps me going is the kids that we work with and the families we work with. They are awesome. All they need is a hand up. They just need some help to get over the hump, some help to be able to manage the challenges, the mental health challenges, but they can all succeed. And that's what keeps me going. And I have to tell you, I got a text just yesterday from a former kid who was third generation foster care herself. She has two kids, and she was just texting me to wish me happy Thanksgiving. And she has started a job at Northside Hospital and is doing well. I said, "How's the job going?" She said, "Fantastic." And that's what keeps me going is seeing that when you invest in a child's life who has significant problems, you can truly interrupt the cycle of abuse. You can interrupt the cycle of foster care and you can give dignity because this young mom is doing a fantastic job and she's working and she's supporting her family and her oldest son made the honor roll. Um, you can't get better than that.
It's amazing. If you want to learn more about Chris 180 and what they're doing during holiday season, their counseling and mental health services, how they handle foster care, and how they help the homeless youth and their housing, you can visit chris180.org. That's also how you give donations, help these great causes here in Atlanta. They're trying to make this place better for all of us, and it's so inspiring to see. And I want to thank Kathy Colbenson, President and CEO of Chris 180, for taking a little time to speak with me today. Kathy, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you, Jackson. I have to say you're awesome too.
All right.
Thank you so much. And have a happy holiday.
Oh, happy holiday to you too. That was perfect.
All right.
That was
Thank you.
great.
Hey, really quick,